Welcome to the Builders Podcast, episode 155. Pete Mohr, Greatest Future Impact, the Art of Delivering Transformative Client Experiences. Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable from the trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another The Builders. Today we are rejoined by Pete Mohr. Welcome back to the show, Pete.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Matt. I loved our conversation last time and looking forward to digging into some cool topics here today, too.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what to talk about. He's done so much and he knows so much. There's a lot of options. So, but we picked a really good one today. I think it's going to be really cool. Now, Pete is, he is a biz coach, but he's not just any biz coach. He's a biz coach that's been there, done that, and is still doing that, right?
Yeah. It's been a journey, almost in 2024, as we're recording this at the end of 2023 here, but in 2024 will mark officially my 30th year of being a business owner on a full-time scale. I mean, I had small businesses when I was younger, but doing it for my living 30 years next year. So that's kind of looking back at some of the fantastic things. It's fun. It's been a fun ride. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. It's always fun to look back. Like, man, what was I doing 25 years ago, 30 years ago? And how that journey looked. It's wild. It's a wild ride when you're into business.
It is. Not for everybody.
No. No, it's not. But you got to try. Just give it a try. See what happens. No, today we're going to, now that it's not the first episode, we don't need to dig, if you want to learn more about Pete's story, go back to the first episode. I'll link it up somewhere. But he's got an amazing journey, an origin story. But today we're actually going to dig into a very specific kind of topic. And it's something about the greatest future impact you can have on your clients, right? I thought it would be really interesting to talk about this because I don't think we've talked too much about it on this podcast. We talk a lot about how to run a business in various ways, but a lot of it's internal or how, we can be better. But we don't talk about that relationship with the client and how we can do more for them and how we can be better in that department. So, how do we start this one, Pete? Where do you want to begin?
Well, I think it's interesting because on the last podcast that we did together, it was all about sort of going from operator of your business to owner of your business. And we talk a lot about process and communication and accountability and different things like this. But really, even before that, it starts with understanding what the heck it is you're doing for your clients, right? And I think that's the idea around greatest future impact. And I've got another sort of framework that I as within our last episode, I use frameworks to better understand how I can communicate and bring clarity, both to myself and to my clients. And one of the things that I like to use around is promise. It's called the promise. What are you promising your clients? And if we think about vision and mission and all that kind of stuff, that's more internally focused, whereas the promise is more externally focused. So that's how I sort of delineate the two of them, because we often, most people will have written down their mission statement, and mission statement's more like your marching orders and all that kind of stuff. Your vision is your more grandiose plan of what you want to do in that sort of 25-year future. But the promise, which is where the greatest future impact comes in, and it's one of the tools that I like to use to build the promise for your business, is really about what are you promising your clients. And if you think of the transformation that you do in your business, what is that transformation? What problem do they have? What are the gaps between the problem that they have and between the solution that you provide so that they can have a better life? Because ultimately, Matt, everybody buys a better life, right? And that's what the greater future impact is you have to show them their better life through your services or products And if they don't see that connection and it's not in alignment, they probably are not going to spend money with you.
That's yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, first, and I always think of things in obviously coming from my own business, an agency, and I think about that a lot. Like what do we? It's kind of baked into our messaging. We've identified the pain points. Why are we showing up? What are we helping them with? What are we solving for them? And I do think about thinking about it from that perspective, like what impact not only are we having on the owner of that business or whatever, but their whole team, their whole company, right? And everybody you're helping them do more or do better in certain ways, and that's a fantastic way to look at it.
I mean,
sure.
when you truly understand your greatest future impact and ultimately the promise that your business is putting out there, it gives you all of the clarity and all of the tools that you need for all of your marketing messages, for all of even for hiring and firing. Are they aligned? When I look at your people, all the people in your sort of sphere of influence in your business, I break them down into 3 different types of people. One is your ideal client, which is a typical marketing sort of breakout that you would do, understanding who is your ideal client for your market. The next is your ideal teammates, right? Who do you want working with you? And the third is your ideal outsource suppliers that help deliver that promise. So if there's weird alignments there and things aren't matching and people aren't backing what it is that you do for your clients, the promise that you deliver, and they don't understand your greatest future impact, this is where you're kind of wondering why people aren't fitting into the equation. It's probably here.
Yeah.
It's probably because they aren't in alignment. So you said it right. I mean, I've got a 1-page worksheet that I use, and anybody listening can download it at my website. It's simplifyingentrpreneurship.com/GFI, like greatest future impact. But we can sort of run that. And you started it off really well with, you said, I understand their pain points. Well, that is number 1 on the worksheet. Understand what your client's pain points are. What is the problem that they are seeking the resolution on, right? And then the next piece is, what are your unique solutions to actually satisfy that problem? How are they different?
Right.
And from that perspective, these are marketing pieces too, by the way, right? So how are you different from any of your direct competitors in delivering the solution, even though the end result might be the same in satisfying that problem? What makes you uniquely different than anyone else? Because that's the difference in price point, or else you're just going to be plowing through a price game to get to the lowest end result of satisfying that need. So,
yeah.
anytime we're looking at services in particular, we need to really outline our unique differences in order to justify price points.
That's crucial. So, when I think about, now we serve a couple different types of clients, right? We got the direct clients that are just businesses out there.
Yeah.
And we solve things for them, but also like other agencies, we strategic partnerships with other agencies and what we're solving for them. And that was really one of the big ones where I identified, I saw this pattern, and I think you probably agree, sometimes you don't figure that out just by thinking about it. You're just by doing business, you figure out what their pain points are and talking to people and having those discussions and listening. And I started, hearing what their challenges were around working with outside teams. And when I was hearing that and understanding what that was and how painful it was for them, like it was so challenging that it makes it difficult for them to do business, or do more with their business. But I had to also know that I'm uniquely positioned to solve that for them. Like I had to define kind of my unique solution, as you call it, to like, why am I positioned to come in and do something better that Now they have all these bad experiences. How can I even convince them that I can do better, that I'm not going to be the same as everybody else? And some of that's experience and just what I bring to the table, my, whatever, whether it's project management background, my Scrum experience and all that good stuff. What do I bring to the table? And then how does my team, fit into that? And that's something you're talking about, that all that alignment. How can my team, kind of reflect that and solve those things for, as a team.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's huge.
The next piece of the puzzle, which gives you a little bit of forethought and gives them something to ponder too, is what will their life look like in 3 years if they use your solutions? So you want to project essentially to them what they can expect. And when you're saying, hey, here's the problem you currently have, and 3 years from now, if you use our solutions, this is what you can expect down the road. So you're giving them that foresight in advance so that they can justify, again, why they would want to use your service, right?
Yeah.
The next piece after that is really, what's your action plan to help them get there? And that's where you detail out, here's what we do. And if it's not aligned, like if there's one piece of those 4 steps or 3 steps or 6 steps or whatever it is that just isn't in alignment with their pain points, they're going to question, why would they use you?
So you're trying to paint a picture for them, like what they're going to, when you start working with us and what we're going to do and how we're going to solve those things, this is what it can look like 3 years down the road.
Totally. Give them, you're giving them in your language their greatest future impact, right? So you're saying if you use us to do, and depending on who's listening, whether you're a marketing agent, whether you're a shoe store, like we own shoe stores, or whether you're a plumber, I mean, it's like, hey, listen, if I put in this new bathroom, picture 3 years from now, you're gonna be in this great big shower and all this stuff, as opposed to this dirty old tub, So this kind of stuff is all interesting when we start thinking and really doing some homework on the greatest future impact, and so that we really have all the language that we need, which will reflect right back onto everything, right? So when you have your promise, and you align that on, I'll use the promise for our shoe stores, for example. Our shoe stores here in Canada are called Shootopia, and our promise is to help our clients look great and feel fantastic. Nice and simple, 4 words. I suggested a promise of anywhere from 3 to 6 words type thing. You want to keep it really quick and easy, but look great and feel fantastic. Well, what does that mean? When they step into a shoe, that means when they look in the mirror and they go, ooh, I look pretty good. That means when you're standing there and you're closing your eyes, you're going, those feel fantastic. Look great, feel fantastic. With that combination, we've got the perfect pair, right? Mm-hmm. And if we've helped drive that for them so that they can live the better life, enjoy that wedding, go to the gym in comfort, whatever they're using that pair of footwear for, you can say, you know what, you don't have to worry about sore feet anymore, sore back, feeling uncomfortable at work, all these different things. And you can see how all the marketing is going to play off of that now.
True, yeah.
The greatest future impact for my client at Shootopia is to look great and feel fantastic. And if I can deliver that, then I'm delivering my promise. Right?
That's really good.
Yeah. So, and I'm asking you, the listener, what's your promise? And in order to drive that, you got to understand this greatest future impact, right? And you have to be able to, work with your clients, and depending on whether, if you're a convenience store, they're in and out type thing, and you might not have all the capacities of following up and stuff like that. But if it's an ongoing relationship, like in my example of coaching with a lot of my clients, we have ongoing relationships for sometimes years. Once you sort of go that route, then it's like, well, how do you track success to make sure that you're delivering your greatest future impact? And you have to understand what that looks like, right? Like, and how, how are you tracking success? How are you re-engaging with your clients that have used your service to ensure that you're actually delivering their greatest future impact through your services?
Wow, yeah, and like you said, it also helps you kind of define your message, and something you can, you'll communicate in all kinds of different ways. I was thinking about, again, with my agency, like, one of the big things is just relieving that stress. You're talking about how I look good, I feel good in your shoes.
Yeah.
For us, it's literally baked into some of my copy. I'm like, we're stress relievers, talk to Matt. Well, jump on a 15-minute call, and we'll see if we're a good fit. In that call, I'll kind of convince them that this is a good road to take, and it could, you can focus on other things rather than your tech. We got that. We'll fix all that stuff, the server stuff, site going down, all that thing. And you can go out there, market, sales, whatever you do, and we'll handle the rest. And that's part of that. And that's part of that. Sometimes when we get a client, they're a mess. They're in that situation. Their site's going down. They don't know what's what. But maybe it's only 6 months. In 6 months we'll have all that solved. Do you have any other examples of people you've worked with that have applied this and seen a dramatic improvement in their business and what they're doing?
Well, for sure, and you were saying how you've used it, but I can even use myself as an example on the coach side of things too, right? So when we look at my coaching business, I used Shootopia as one, but one of the things that I'm trying to do with my coaching business for small business owners is to help them elevate their business and enhance their life, right? So elevate their business, enhance their life. And how do we do that? We do that through helping them with better communication, better process management, more accountability within their organizations, so that they don't have to make every decision in their business all the time. They don't have to open the door every morning. They don't, all this thing, so that your business is essentially running on rails. Because no matter what level and where you're at in your journey as a business owner, when your business is running on rails, it allows you more freedom. And that's the goal, is to get the business owners to enjoy more freedom and enjoy their life through their business. And your business is propping up the life that you want to live, as opposed to you always propping up your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a good thing to solve.
Yeah. So I mean,
because a lot of people have that problem.
So
or just, yeah.
And that's what I do as a business coach, right? Is to work through these different things. So if we're thinking about that kind of stuff, and the greatest future impact of how I can deliver that service, well, I can give you a direct result for one of my clients, which is he runs an awesome music company and he has a factory in India that is developing and creating beautiful instruments. He lives in the States, and he has a wholesale sort of throughout the world for his instruments. And a few years ago when we started working together, he's still answering like almost every single phone call. They homeschooled and stuff like that, but anytime they ever went away, they have a trailer and they 4 kids. Anytime they ever went away, he's still on the phone the whole time they're away, all this kind of stuff. And probably within 2 or 3 months, he took his first sort of 10-day vacation with the family without even answering a phone call. And that was like after 10 years of business, Matt,
Yeah. Yeah.
Something as simple as taking a vacation away where your team isn't, always coming to you for accountability and answers and all that sort of stuff. That's the greatest future impact of what I try to deliver for my clients, right? Is to get your business running on rails so that decisions can be made without you instead of with you all the time.
I love it. Yeah. Because getting people out of those messes. I mean, how do you identify that pain point? I mean, is it like I was talking, talking with and just listening as you're engaging with people and doing business?
It really depends. I mean, if you sell sewing machines, then you're going to want to be in different various groups of, in quilting and all this other stuff to better understand what the pain points are of the ideal clients that are buying the sewing machines, right? But you could say the same sort of thing around, I have a truck that's in the shop right now for $15,000 engine job. So, what's
Wow.
what's the pain point there? What's the pain? Like, it doesn't
There's a lot
matter.
of pain.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, but it's either that or buy another $120,000 truck. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But it's one of these things, Matt. Every business has its own pain points, and so whatever your business is, and it's hard sort of to talk about them generically, but they can be specific, and they should be specific to whatever it is you do. And when you're in your own zone, you tend to know those pain points a little better, but at the same time, you might not be current with them. So if you've been if you've been in business for a while and you already think you have your promise really aligned and the greatest future impact dialed in, when was the last time you actually checked to see if it's still relevant?
So it's something you have to revisit periodically and update.
I mean,
evolve.
Some people never changed after COVID even. And COVID changed so many different things on how we deliver our services, what's the end result of what's expected through services. I mean, even things like ChatGPT and Zoom and all these other different things that have really come to the forefront in the last few years. And there's lots of businesses out there that have not adopted and adapted to some of the technologies that have come to the forefront in their industries. And quite honestly, if they're not on top of some of those things, they're going to be left behind because the greatest future impact for the end user has changed. And they're going to want to go with some of these other things because they see a bigger and brighter future. And they may elect to write that check with someone else other than you.
Yeah. I think the important thing in any business has got to be to not just deliver, like doing, executing on your services and selling products and all this and without ever engaging with that client or that customer and listening to them and getting a feel for what's going on in the industry and what is shaping it and where's it headed, where are we going to be in a couple of years, and because you can anticipate issues they're going to have down the road as well, right? So yeah, it's something that always has to be assessed, and I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So how you can track success was one of those other areas on the sheet. Another one is how you obtain feedback. So, are you obtaining feedback? I mean, a lot of people don't. And so one of the things we do at our shoe stores is, for people that we have their email addresses for in particular, we'll send out a thing. Can you do a Google review for us? So we actually know some feedback. We've done various surveys and different things like that on better understanding what our clients are looking for. On the shoe side or on the coaching side of things with Simplifying Entrepreneurship, each quarter we have sort of a plan that we go through what we've accomplished for the quarter and what our future quarter is going to look like. So we're always in a regular rhythm of assessing how we've done and looking forward to what we want to do. We use that same sort of process in my business at Shootopia as well as I do with my clients. And I think having sort of a systemized plan that allows you to address your success and to acknowledge feedback and to make your business better is part of the ever-evolving side of greatest future impact and tweaking your promise sometimes. Because just because you've had the same promise for 30 years in business doesn't mean that it's still relevant anymore.
Relevant today. Yeah, that's actually that's some I've used in previous businesses where I've sold products, digital products and stuff like that. And even in selling just WordPress themes, I did a lot of that. Is you build a list of people, you got hundreds or thousands on your list, periodically poll them, send I did that, and I would get just send them maybe 10 questions or whatever, and what's that were probing enough where I could figure out, what do they want, of course, is there something else that we're not doing for them, or how can we improve our product or service? But also just open-ended questions that they might share some things that they're, that might take you in a completely different direction. They got some pain point or something that's highlighted there that you didn't even think of, and always keeping that communication open like that is that, obviously communication is a big part of this, but and the same with clients. I just actually got a note this morning. I was one of my long-term clients, friends as well. We have a really good relationship. I touched base with him on Slack like 2 weeks later. He's apologizing. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you right away. We're all busy.
Yeah.
But he's like, in the new year, let's touch base. Let's see what's going on. And that's an opportunity for me. We'll jump on a call. We'll see, because we do business with them and stuff. We help them with a bunch of stuff in their business. We'll see where they're at, what they're doing in 2024, and if there's anything new we assess what we did for this year. Was there any issues? But always communicating and listening. That's a huge part of this. So, yeah, like I said, it's hard to generalize, like, how do you figure out pain points across a bajillion different businesses. But that's how you do it. I think it's just talking and.
I think with these sort of exercises, greatest future impact, your promise, these kind of things, if you're running sort of entirely, like, I have a different promise for my coaching business than I do for Shootopia. Like, it's different because it has to be. So it's not like one promise or one greatest future impact exercise is going to give you everything you need for your business, because you could actually have the greatest future impact exercise that we're talking about here today and overlay it into the different pillars of your business. So if you, depending on what you do, if you have 3 or 4 different pillars within your business, then you really should have a greatest future impact done for each of those, so that then you can really, because one person, if you have a multifaceted business, may be coming in for something on one of those pillars and doesn't care at all about the other 3. So you need to have all of your language, all of the stuff, everything aligned and assigned, your people, your process, all of this stuff aligned and assigned to deliver that promise for that particular pillar of your business.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So now let's drill in. So we figure out what our promise is. Mm-hmm. So how is that communicated now to the team, and how do you create those processes to deliver that?
Well, really, it starts with understanding what the greatest future impact is, and then we're pulling in. So I've been using my shoe store today, but I'll use my shoe stores again here, because we have different departments in our shoe store, right?
Yeah.
So we have dress, and we have casual, and we have boots, and we have athletic, and we have hiking. So we have different departments. And the promise that we may be delivering on somebody who's coming in looking for a pair of dress shoes to wear to a wedding is probably very different than somebody who is going to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So how do we
unless they're going to get married on top of the mountain? I mean,
But the overarching promise is still the same. The overarching promise is help them look great and feel fantastic, and they want to do that in both those situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So having that general theme is important, because all of the decisions departmentally underneath it need to align with that. So when we think about the structure of that, it's almost like an accountability chart or an organizational chart, as some people use different words. But from that side of things, if you're thinking about the structure, you need to have your overarching theme so that you can build your departmental ones. So if I'm going to take that, I'm going to go over to the person who's heading off to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and is coming into our store. What do I wear? So now I want, is this going to, then it becomes a whole bunch of answering questions wrapping around the thoughts around that particular journey in order to help them look great and feel fantastic when they go there. Because if they did, then when we track their success, they come back and they tell us, that was the best pair of shoes I've ever had. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and I took a picture, and you can put it on your social and all this kind of stuff, right? And it's like, wow, we hit it, right? And so same sort of thing with the wedding. It's like, hey, here's the picture of the wedding and my shoes, and I'm all dressed up. We had a great time, and they were comfortable, and everybody commented they were great, and blah blah blah. It's like awesome. So if you think about those kind of things, how are they aligning with the greatest future impact? Because you're trying whatever you sell, whether it's a service, a pair of shoes, a new engine, it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, think about my mechanic. It's like, okay, well, you know what state your car is in now. If you're looking to take it for a drive again, then here's what we need to do, right?
Right.
So,
right.
But ultimately, I mean, everybody's business is different, and when we need to think about those, you need to really start with that overarching theme, which is the company's promise, and then you're bringing down the greatest future impact into each of these departments, whether it's going to the wedding or whether it's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, through your services, which in my case is selling shoes, through your people, which is the salesperson, and having them trained and process driven in how to take that person through from answering the right or asking the right questions to find out what they're looking to do with this. We need to find out what their future impact is and what they're looking to do, what their pain points are, so that we can align and assign our products to that in order to, drive the right amount of profit. Because once we do that, we've got a happy customer and they're going to pay. And ultimately, all of these exercises are sort of a waste of time if you don't have any paying customers.
That is true.
Yeah.
Unless you got, some bank and you're just doing this for fun, yeah, whatever.
But Matt,
if we lose money.
If you don't have as many paying customers as you'd like to have, then there's probably some issues that this conversation and this worksheet will help you sort of uncover so that you can go to work on it.
Yeah. And I think, I feel like we talked about this in our first episode. We were talking about how you empower your team and your employees or whatever to be able to make those decisions, but they can't make good decisions, without you having to be there to make those decisions, or them calling you and, hey, I don't know how to,
When as the leader, your job is to spew out in any given way possible what the promise is, what your vision is, what your guiding principles are for the internal running of your organization, and what the promise is for the external people as well that are going to use your services. Because if you're going back to the three different types of people, your ideal client, your teammates, and all of your outsourced suppliers, if they don't really understand what this is, so your job as a leader is to continuously say this, like time and time again. This is how it is. This is what we do. This is why we do it. Here's the problems we fix. This is how we fix those problems. This is what the better life is. Everybody starts becoming aligned to that. And when they are aligned to that, things go really well. And when they aren't, they don't. And usually, especially when there's team-based misalignment, they don't really understand what it is you're trying to drive home. And that's a problem. It's like, hey, listen, this is how we do business. And if you don't align, then that's an issue that needs to either be dealt with by you as the leader or by whoever's accountable for that particular person. Or quite often, it deals with itself as the person tends to leave because they really understand that they aren't the right fit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not just doing marketing and just going out there and just talking to your clients about these things. Your people have to know too. And I was just looking up here because I at the end of the year, I will write a letter to my team, right? And congratulating them on a great year and everything we did, and then just speaking to some things. And it's also a great opportunity to remind them of why we do what we do and what we're solving, and how we're helping our clients and partners and all this stuff. And this whole conversation kind of resonated with that, because like one of the paragraphs was, I'm reading it from Slack. It's right here. I don't see us as an agency that just builds websites. We are so much more than that. Every project is helping someone, some business, some agency delivers something better that generates more sales, improves their lives and the lives of the people they serve. That was one snippet of it. But that is what I'm telling my team, because I want them to understand we're not, whether we're doing some extra QA on some website or some project to make sure we're delivering something quality, and maybe we're not even charging for it. Maybe it's not even baked into the scope, but we're doing that extra thing because we want to make sure that we're delivering something so quality that, again, they don't have to worry about it. They're not finding those bugs. We're finding them and stuff. So I think that's a critical message here in this whole thing that we're talking about, the greatest future impact, that it has to trickle down, and your team has to understand that so they can effectively, because the next time they're interacting with a client or working on something, like, that's what they'll remember. We're not just building a website.
I love that. And on my podcast, The Business Owner Breakthrough, I do little short clips. And one of the ones that I recently just did was around your community impact for your business on your community, right? And when we think about that kind of stuff, the greater future impact that your business can have within the community that you operate in, your local community. And one of the things we did with Utopia in the month of December was we did a sock drive, and we basically collected, I think it was 800 pair of socks for the local food bank. And, all of these different things, like that's one of the impact pieces that we can have as a business within our community. And that creates alignment with your ideal customer too, when they see that kind of stuff being done. When I look at my Simplifying Entrepreneurship business, I mean, quite honestly, Matt, I don't need to coach. I coach business owners because I love it, and it's something that is I just love to do. But my feeling around coaching business owners, and one of the main reasons why I do it, is because I believe that business owners are the backbones of their communities. They're the little league coaches. They're the deacons in the church. They're the people that raise the money for the new wing of the hospital. They're the people that employ a lot of local people and keep the businesses rolling and keep the money in the communities. They're the people that really are typically the leaders in their communities, and they're often overworked. And my philosophy around creating more freedom through my coaching is that if I can give those business owners more time back and more money, that they will probably give more time to their communities and more money to their communities. And in some small way, I've helped them help their community, and that's why I do what I do as a business coach. So as a greatest future impact type thing, that's one of my overarching themes, is that if I can help my clients get more of their time back, they will probably give more of that time to their community and give more of the money that we help them generate to their community and create a better community. Because typically, when you look at the people out there that are doing this kind of stuff, it is the business owners.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's huge. Number one, I love that. That's your thing is to give business owners their time back. But it's true, like, we can get so wrapped up in what we're doing and stuff. I need to improve on that myself. It's challenging. Like, for me, like, I have essentially a global business,
Yeah.
at least, like, I'm not baked into my local communities and stuff because I'm not tied locally. I've always gotten business. I know people everywhere, but slowly I've been getting some more. I actually have a partnership here with an agency locally. It's been about a year and a half now, but and I see what they're doing and all the things they do to impact community and stuff. And I'm thinking, like, as my business grows and I can get some of my time back, how can I give back? I think in the beginning it's like, you might be a little crazy. You got to build it first.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And I mean, that's mainly why I don't work with a lot of startups. I work more with people who are established and that are feeling that they're feeling, okay, like, I've had enough working 70, 80 hours a week, and I'm ready to actually get some of my time back. But, even from your perspective, Matt, we do a lot of work with the food bank, our local food bank, and we collect used footwear for them. We've donated over 5,000 pair of shoes to our local food bank, and we fix them up, clean them up, put new insoles in them, whatever the case is. We do the sock drive, a bunch of different things. But everybody, even if they run a global business, because I can say most of my clients, coaching wise, are in the US, even though I live in Canada. Like 90% of my clients are in the US. So I'm not necessarily working in their place, because most of my business is on Zoom and what have you. I speak around the world, but ultimately those are just one stops in a various city. But anybody who's running a global thing can pick a local business. And I look at what you do. And from your perspective, it's like, hey, I can build websites. So what you do is align with something that aligns with your sort of mantra. And if that's a food bank, for example, I haven't looked at our local food bank website recently, but I bet you there's some improvements that a awesome marketing company could make on that. So, and if that's your give back, would they be happy with a better marketing, with a better website that's going to actually generate more food? You betcha they would. And how hard would that be for you to do that as part of your give back, right? So, and you're helping your direct community through your unique abilities on what you do with your business. And so I just use that as an example for you, but everybody who's listening to the show has unique abilities with their business, that there are many different associations and charitable options to align with that are going to be very appreciative of anything that you can give to them.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good, inspiring message to land on. I love it. You're inspiring me. Like I'm going into my 6th year in business. I need to start, transitioning and actually giving back more. So I'm giving myself to my business.
and it's part of your greatest future impact, your personal one. Yeah. Which you can also use this exercise for, right? It's like, well, what do I want? At the end of the day here as part of, leaving my stamp here. Right. And I think it's always interesting when we come to the end of the year, as we kind of reflect upon some things and maybe have a longer term outlook than we might in the middle of the year, as we're digging into whatever's currently, causing us issues in our businesses. Yeah. But typically around this time of year, it's like, hey, just step back. And I try to do this more often than just once a year. I do it regularly, maybe too much. Mm-hmm. But, it's one of these things that if we have a really clear picture, because clarity creates confidence, right? And confidence, I use another line, clarity creates confidence, and confidence ignites momentum. So if you're looking to ignite momentum, we need to have the clarity of what it is we're going to do in order to get the momentum to push something through. So from that perspective, we use these little sheets, or we use any sort of thinking tools in order to bring us clarity, so that we can actually take action upon what it is we want to do with the clarity that we now have.
Beautiful. So how's the coaching business going?
Great. Yeah.
It's going good?
Yeah, I do a lot of work with associations, Matt. So I do some group coaching with various associations, and I'm speaking more than I have been in the last few years, which I really enjoy, speaking at conferences and things like that. It's one of the things I just love doing. Nice. I'm not doing as much one-on-one work anymore with individual business owners, but I do some still. Mm-hmm. I just don't have as much time to do that. So I'm kind of picky and choosy about my one-on-one clients. But it's going really well.
So your ideal, what's your ideal client or person you like to work with, or businesses like you work with?
Right now, as I look ahead to 2024, I'm trying to align with more associations that will bring me in to speak. And then, for example, I do some work with the National Shoe Retailers Association, which I'm a shoe store owner. I'm also a member, but I'm a hired coach. I work with several of their groups. I speak at several of their events throughout the U.S. every year, and I write in their trade publication. I also work with a group of dance school owners, same sort of thing. I do some mastermind groups with them. I speak at their conventions, so aligning with different associations like that. And because every association has a group of business owners that are going through these exact problems that we have been talking about on these past 2 episodes. And so my message and the things that I talk about are not necessarily specific to a given association, for example. They're really business owner things. So if you're a business owner, the message usually hits home.
Awesome. So remind us again, I think you threw
a link
URL out there at some point.
I did.
To talk about if somebody wants to dig into more of what we were talking about today.
Yeah. So
where
my
can
website,
they find that?
Yeah, my website is simplifyingentrpreneurship.com. If you want to grab that one PDF download, it's just /GFI, so greatest future
GFI.
impact. And you can download the one-page worksheet there that we've been talking about here today. And other than that, I hang out on LinkedIn. Pete Mohr, Mohr, is the best way to catch me socially.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming back on, Pete. I have considering how many things you threw at me we could talk about, I have this idea that we might be back on together sometime in the future, maybe 2024.
Would love to
right
do
around
that.
the corner.
Would love to do that, Matt.
All
Wishing
right.
you the best.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. If you want to comment on this episode's page, provide me with requests on topics for future episodes, or inquire about being a guest, please find your way to thebuilders.fm. You can contact me there or add a comment under these show notes. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you are interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.